I'm going to start this painting with a rough sketch, and I'm going to start from there. I'm going to start doing the blocking around the back. Now I'm going to start laying down the blocking, and I'm going to do it in different shades and blend it in as I go. So I'm starting with a darker colour of green, and then I'll work it up and see how we go from there. I'm coming in with different shades of greens. Add a bit of titanium white into the mix to soften it up a bit. I mix some red, yellow and blue to make like a brownish colour. I didn't quite blend them in together till I get it onto the page. And I'll just do the blocking in the foreground. Need a little bit more to mix. And we just block in the foreground. Usually make it darker in the corners, in the foreground, which I'll come back and do a bit more of later. Now I'm adding some trunks of trees into the background. Which I'll work on a bit more later on in the painting. Now I'm blocking in the cars. I'm using a new type of material. It's some type of acrylic paper for painting, and I'm not really happy with it at the moment. So we'll see where it ends up at the end of the video. But there's no harm in trying something new. Now I've done a lot of the blocking in, or all of the blocking in I'm going to do, but I'm not really happy with this sheet. It's supposed to be acrylic paper for painting acrylic paints. I'm not really happy with it, and I can't mix the colours on it like I like to do on canvas sheets. I can blend the colours together. I can't really do it on this. It soaks it in, but we'll keep going and we'll see how it turns out. The next step I'm going to do is start working on the highlights and build up some texture and see what it turns out like. It's going to be a mystery. I have no idea where it's going to end up. I slowly build up the textures and highlights on the cars. I'm discovering with the second coat I'm putting on them that the paints are blending a bit better. And we'll keep continuing and see where we end up. Looking good so far, I think. I'm going to have a break from working on the cars for a while, and I'm going to work on the greenery in the foreground. I'm just going to there's some rough strokes here and there, and I might get the fan brush out too after I do this and work on that as well. So I started working on the foreground with the grasses, building it up. I'm doing rough because I'm not really happy with this. I don't think I'll end up putting it up on eBay. I don't think I'll be using this paper again, but as you can see, I'm just roughly building up the grasses in the foreground. Now I'm going to start working on the trees, build them up a bit, give them a bit of texture and shadow, and see where we go from there. Still not happy with this paper I'm using. I'm going to whinge about it all the way through, I think. Right. I'm just going to blotch it on in places and try and touch up where I kind of messed up a bit, and we'll see. As I say, I keep saying we'll see where it turns out. So it's very hard to paint and hold your camera at the same time, but like I said, I'm going to blotch it, just blotch it down, and then I'm going to go back over with a lighter colour as well. I'm also using these colours that someone gave me. I can't remember who. They've been sitting around for a long time. So these are the colours I'm using. I'll put the names up later. But this is my haul of paints. I usually use these ones in there, but I thought I'd give these other ones a go, and that's the results of the colours. So I'm going to keep blending, and we'll move to the next step then. Now I'm going to do the same. I'm going to blotch with a lighter colour that's from the direction of the sun will be coming, or the light breaking through, and I'll just blotch it down. Now I've finished building up the grass. I might come back and do a bit of shadowing to it later on. And I worked on the trees, and I might do a little bit more to them. I might put another lighter colour down again to get the effect of the sun. Plus I'm going to work on the cars a bit more, do a bit more shadowing in the cars, try and make them look a bit more realistic than, at the moment I think they look more like a cartoon version of cars, but we'll see where we go from here and how it turns out. Now I started working on the shading on the vehicles. So I'll just do a little bit on here to show you what. Oops. That's not what it's supposed to do. That's a little bit darker than that. I must have dipped it in the brown mixture I had. I'll let that dry and I'll go back to it. Yes, we make mistakes as we go along. Right, hopefully it's a bit better. Yep, so I'm going to just shade along here a bit. still not quite dark enough, so don't want to go too dark. But shading in there, and do a bit along here. And we'll see how we go. I'm going to work on the trees a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of white, not too heavy, just on the edges of the tree. And I'll show you what it looks like when I'm completed. There we go. I'm not going to do any more to it, but I have worked on it the best I could. Considering it's this paper I don't like painting on. This is the results. Shadows and highlights on the car. Now with the windows I watered down some white and did a bit of a wash over with the white on the windows to give an effect of old windows. I change the brush strokes on the grass because I didn't like the way it was turning out before. Darken the corners, and because it's close to you, always darken the corners a bit. And there we go. That's the results. I think it looks alright.